Hi, my name is David Breslow, and I'm an author and the founder of Performance Success Strategies and creator of the Wired to Win program. I'd like to speak to you for a brief time today about a new coaching program that I have called Express Your Talents. And it's based on the need that I have seen over the years, and including for myself as well, that so many people are going through life with a bunch of dreams and a bunch of hopes and a bunch of desires and are not acting on them. And we're finding all sorts of ways, all sorts of gurus, all sorts of philosophies and approaches out there to try to get us to wake up and take action. Massive action is one of the most common phrases. But I found over the years that there's an easier way to get there, and it's quicker and the results are faster. And I'm going to explain a little bit of that for you here today. So the program is called Express Your Talent. It's a new coaching process that I've put together. And it's really based on this new daily mantra. It's one of the things that I taught all of my previous coaching clients as a way to go throughout their day or whatever they were doing. Some were athletes, some were business professionals, men, women, and boys and girls, teenagers who are also athletes, and just people who wanted to learn how to be more self-reliant and self-empowered. That's what this is really all about, and really express who they really are. Something that a lot of people find very difficult to do, but you're not that far away from it. So here's the mantra that I asked them to take a look at. Every day, if you went into every day in every situation with this as your mantra or your reason for doing what you're doing or going where you're going, to express all your talents fully and freely while overcoming your obstacles with ease and awareness. This is the basic message of this new coaching format, so that you are able to go into any situation, and express all of your talents fully and freely while overcoming your obstacles with ease and awareness. A very cool definition. In fact, you can start applying this right away. The next thing you do after you're done listening to this, take this as your reason for being there. So if you're going into a meeting, or you're going back home, or if you're addressing your mate, your spouse, or children if you have them, going to the grocery store, whatever you're doing doesn't really matter. If you go into that situation with this in mind, I'm going to go there right now to express all my talents fully and freely while overcoming any obstacles I might have with ease and awareness. Watch what happens to you. You may be very pleasantly surprised. So here's what happens. The traditional coaching approach is based on a few certain things. One of them is they love to add more information. They're constantly giving you more stuff to think about, more theories, more concepts, more ideas, more strategies, more tips. And in our culture today, we're very tip oriented. Hey, just give me a tip for this. Give me a tip to help me feel more confident. Give me a tip to help me feel more clear. Well, this isn't really working. It's proven. It's proven over the years that these quick fix tips do not work. Or maybe even better phrased is they do not last. They may help for a short period of time. Results are very sporadic, and people who've tried them know it. So they also require your buy-in. You see, when you talk to somebody and they start giving you some new theories or some concepts, and it sounds good, and it may very well be, that's fine, but it requires your buy-in in order for it to work for you. You have to really process these things and look at them and go, okay, I buy that. I believe that's true. And that will help you get what you want a little more faster. But it does require your buy-in. And it also requires your belief. You have to believe in what you're hearing for it to start working for you. And you're going to find in the approach that I'm talking to you about now, neither one of these is required. Your buy-in is not required, and your actual belief, believe it or not, is not required one bit. It's pretty amazing. And in the traditional approach, the results you get are often very sporadic, if at all. They take a long time for you to see them. That's because you're going up against some old habits that you've had for years, and you're going up against these habits and these new ideas, these new tips, this new bit of information is not strong enough for you to start changing those habits quickly enough. That's my problem with the traditional approach. So here's what I call what I'm doing. I call it the advanced approach. And if you see this picture here, and you've seen this film called The Karate Kid, one of my favorite films of all time, you see there Mr. Miyagi teaching Daniel on the right to paint his fence. Now, very quickly, the story goes, this kid, Daniel, wanted to learn karate, and he found this older guy named Mr. Miyagi, and he asked him if he would teach him. And Miyagi said yes. So what does Miyagi do? He has Daniel come over to his house at 6 a.m., 3, 4, 5 days in a row. And all he has him do is paint his fence, wax his car, sand all the floors, sand all the wood, and he has a ton of wood around his house, just like you're seeing. And for hours every day, that's all Daniel is doing. Until finally he gets fed up after a few days. He's exhausted at the end of the day. It's in the evening. Miyagi comes home from a fishing trip or something. Miyagi's having a good time while Daniel's there working his behind off. And Daniel's getting all upset. So Miyagi comes back. Daniel confronts him and he says, hey, I asked you to teach me karate, and all you have me doing is fixing your house. I'm painting your fence, I'm waxing your cars, I'm sanding your floors. What's up? I'm out of here. And Daniel starts to walk away. And then you hear Miyagi go, Daniel-san. And Daniel turns around and he's like, yeah, well, what do you want? Show me paint the fence. And he's just not into it. He's just flapping his hand. And before you know it, Miyagi starts throwing a flurry of punches and kicks at him. This probably went on for 20, 30 seconds. Daniel starts blocking all of them. And at the end, Miyagi just looks at him and says, see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. And he bows and he walks away. And the camera moves into Daniel, and his chin is literally on the ground. And he's thinking, what the heck just happened? I don't know what happened. How did I block all that stuff? I don't even know what I did. And that's what I'm calling an advanced approach. It was brilliant. And it's called the head fake. A head fake is nothing more than something that looks like it's going in one direction, but actually ends up going in another. So Miyagi was brilliant. He understood that instead of directly teaching Daniel how to block a kick, that could have taken a long time with all the repetition and all the physical habit. So what does he do? He has him make all these movements of painting the fence and waxing the car and sanding the floor, all of them the same kinds of movements that he could have taught him directly. But instead, it was a head fake. So Daniel learned exactly what he needed to learn without directly having to learn it. And in the advanced approach, that's exactly what we're doing. And that's why the results are so much faster, because I'm basically teaching you laws of human performance. And throughout these laws, it's just like Daniel painting the fence and waxing the car. It seems like it has nothing to do with anything, but when you understand them, everything begins to change. And I mean everything. And you get your power back. The very power you've been giving away all this time and not expressing yourself in your life fully and freely begins to come back to you. So the reason it happens so fast is because you experience it and you own it. You see, Daniel had the experience of painting the fence and waxing the car and all that, even though at the time he couldn't understand what any of this had to do with karate. But now he has the experience. And when he has the experience, he owns it. So when Miyagi came to him that night and started throwing these punches and kicks at him, Daniel's just naturally blocking them with his arms and everything. So he owned it. From that point on, he could help Daniel in a way that he could not help him nearly as fast as if he started technically, directly teaching him all these other things. So once again, brilliant in my opinion. And that's what I'm calling the advanced approach. So here's the essential difference, really. In the traditional approach, they're always telling you what you need to do. Hey, you need to be more confident. You need to be less stressed. You need to relax more. You need to have better body language. And they'll give you a few tips and some strategies to help you do that. And that's what I call coping mechanisms. That's really what they are. You go to somebody, you tell them what your issues are, and they say, okay, Let me help you cope with those things a little better. I'm not a big fan of coping. And the reason is, and you can look it up in the dictionary, I prove everything I say. That's why the buy-in is easy. Everything's provable. You don't have to believe me. Go to your dictionary and look up the word cope. Here are the synonyms you will find: to handle, to get by, to deal with, to struggle with, and to survive. Really? Is that what you're looking to do? To handle things better? To struggle with things more? To survive them? Most of the people I talk to say no. And then I will say, well, that's what you're doing. When you learn tips and strategies and things like that, all you're doing is learning how to cope with the fires in your life when they start to flare up. So here's the question that I'm very popular for asking. Do you want more tips and strategies to put out the fires that you have in your life? Or do you want to have fewer fires to put out? Most people I talk to say, well, if I had a choice, I'd rather have fewer fires. And I'm sitting there going, okay, then I'm your guy, because I have no intention on helping you cope with the stuff you already don't want. Does that really make any sense? To cope with things that you already know that you don't want anymore? Why should you waste your time? Why don't you start creating something new? So that's what the advanced approach is really about. It teaches you these laws that I just mentioned, which are all provable. They're undeniable. You can't run. You can't hide from them. I didn't make them up. They're not mine. But it's about how human beings produce outcomes. That's what these laws do. Every law produces an outcome. So it teaches you that these laws that produce results that are so powerful, and it puts the power back in your hands. Wouldn't that be awesome? That's when you can start expressing yourself fully and freely. That's when everything starts to change. So here's a skinny look at the model. Basically, what happens first is we're going to look at your story. Everybody has a story, the story you tell yourself every day. That includes things like, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I don't have the training. I don't know if I can really do that. I've always wanted to sing a song. I've always wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to run my own company. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do that. But, so we're going to take a look at your story, because that's where all your buts are, all of your yeah buts. And then we're going to uncover what I call the lies. You're not lying to yourself on purpose, but these are the lies that we tell ourselves. They're just not true. And I'm going to prove it to you. And these limitations that these lies foster are just not true. But that's what these lies do. They will create limitations, false beliefs, false premises about so many things in our lives. So we begin with the story and we blow it to pieces because it's just not helping you anymore. Then you're going to take a look at the laws that are relevant, because you're using those laws to create that story, by the way, just as well as you're going to be using these laws to create now your new story. So now you're going to have some new tools. So you're going to have a new story. You're also going to have what we call a new state. You hear Tony Robbins talking about this a lot. Change your state. But instead of just changing your state right away, which is fine, it feels better, I want you to know behind the scenes how that state got created and how you can now use these very same laws to create this brand new state very, very quickly. Then you're out in the world doing what you're doing. You're starting to express yourself. You're starting to feel the freedom. Your confidence is rising. You're starting to think better, feel better, do things better. Now we have some time to make adjustments. You come back to me and you say, hey, Dave, I had this particular situation on the job, or I had this particular situation with a certain guy, if you're a woman, with a certain man that I having to deal with who has all of these limitations about women and so on and so forth. Very common, very common. Now we get to make these adjustments. Or if you're a teenager and you're an athlete, now we get to make these adjustments. Let's say you're a tennis player or a golfer. You now have this new story. You have these new tools. You understand your power here. And now you're coming back with some new situations. Oh, I was playing a tennis match and this happened. Oh, I was on the golf course and this happened. Great. Now we make adjustments. Every great coach in the National Football League is a coach who is able to make adjustments better than the other coach. One of the names that comes to mind is Bill Belichick of the New England Patriots. Anybody who follows football knows, no matter what they think of the Patriots or of him or anything else, everybody agrees this guy is a master adjuster. He is a master at creating adjustments to help his team every individual on his team be successful. And that's why they're so good year after year after year. Why can't you do the same thing? The answer is you can. Of course you can. So now what happens? You have this shift in what you think, what you feel, and what you do. And as I mentioned before, here's where the power is. You own it, because nobody can take this insight away from you. You know how your mind, body, and emotions produce outcomes. And by the way, the laws I'm talking about, these are the laws by which your mind, body, and emotions function together to produce outcomes. Every law produces an outcome. Think of gravity. Gravity is a law. Everybody knows that. Gravity produces an outcome. Gravity doesn't care who you are, gender, your personality type, your income level, where you live. Gravity does not care. Gravity produces an outcome for you and me exactly the same way. That's why I love talking about them. That's why when you know these laws, you own them, because they will always be the same. Tomorrow, 6 months from now, a year and a half from now, 6 years from now, they will always be the same. So let's assume that you and I are up in an airplane. We're going to parachute. And the door opens and this is your turn. I'm going to let you go first because I haven't done it yet. So you're going to parachute. You're going to jump out the plane. And before you step out, you turn to me and you say, "Hey, Dave, I don't believe in gravity. Never have, never will." I'm just going to look at you and say, "Okay." And you step out. What's going to happen to you? That's right. You're going down. So remember what I said a few minutes earlier. Your belief is not required. Do you think gravity cares what you believe? Do you think gravity cares what your opinion of it is? Of course not. Doesn't care what you think, doesn't care what I think, doesn't care what anybody thinks. Gravity produces an outcome. So if you're going to step out of that plane, you're going down. It's just that simple. And it's exactly that simple with the laws. They operate exactly the same way. They're undeniable and just as provable as gravity. That's why you get results so much more quickly. There's no learning curve. There's nothing to process there. How long did you have to think about gravity to really see if it applied to you? The answer is not at all. You didn't have to think at all about that. You know this. Automatically, you know it's true. So you easily shift what you think, what you feel, and what you do, and you own it. And all of this in 90 days. This coaching program is set up in 90 days. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to begin to unleash those talents. Even if you are leashing them now, you're going to unleash them to an even greater degree than you are now. You're also going to express your voice, meaning you're going to be more true to who you really are. I've noticed over the years in coaching people that there's almost always this place deep inside somebody where this burning desire that they had maybe many years ago, but time has worn them down. Obligation and other things has worn them down or made them forget. And we start talking, and all of a sudden that flame starts to come up again. "Oh yeah, that's right, Dave. I always wanted to be a singer, but I just put it away. I got married, my life changed. I had to get a regular job, and boom, boom, boom. Before I know it, I'm 45. But do you still really love singing? Oh yeah, yeah." You can hear it in their voices. I'm willing to bet that there's something like that inside of you too. I know there is for me. So you get to express your voice. It doesn't have to be your physical voice, but expressing your voice means expressing who you are. What is it in there inside that when you were 19 or 20, whatever, 23, 25, 29, what is it inside of you that you always wanted to do, that every time you see it now, there's that little feeling inside of you that goes, "Oh yeah, that's right. I would love to do that." Why can't you do that now? You don't have to change your whole life to do these things. So you're going to start expressing your voice more. You're going to unleash whatever talents you have right now that are already being expressed even greater. You're even going to start uncovering other talents that you've just put away. That's part of expressing your voice. You're going to unlock these hidden desires. Again, things you've always felt you could be, do, or have someday, but you've either forgotten or just given up on. So who is this for? People who believe there's more in life for them. And that's a lot of us. Many of us are walking around the planet deep down inside believing there must be more. There must be something. There must be a way for me to do some of this stuff that I really love to do without my life, without me giving up obligations and things that I know I need to do and things I really want to do. But there's other things you want to do that how I term it is make you whole. They make you whole. They make you happy. They align you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. They make you whole. Why not? People who have untapped potential or feel they do due to fear or false beliefs or limitations. So many of the people I've spoken to have expressed to me that, yeah, I'm probably expressing, 70% of my talents. I know I'm better than this. Whether you're an athlete or not, doesn't make any difference. It could be on the job, could be in relationships, could be in your health, could be in your finances. It really doesn't matter. There's untapped potential there. There's more. There's more that you can give. So business people, athletes, anyone who wants full expression. So what is it that you're really going to see? More specifically, you're definitely going to feel more confident. You're going to be more comfortable in your own skin. You're going to feel a sense of well-being that you probably have not experienced in quite a while. All of that is part of what you will see. And this is within 90 days. You're also going to start expressing your real talents. You're going to uncover those things and understand that by using these laws that you're going to learn, you can actually tap into that and start expressing them very comfortably. And start expressing your talents fully and freely. Remember that definition that we looked at right at the top. And you're going to overcome any of those fears or limitations easily. Easily. Power. Self-empowerment. There's nothing better than when a human being feels that they're aligned or in sync mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. There's great power in that. Your days are filled with smiles, with joy, with happiness, with good intention, with feeling good about what you're doing, with enjoying other people's success. All sorts of great things happen when you come from that place of power. Really do. Clarity. Clarity is a natural byproduct from this process. You begin to be very clear on your own power, your own abilities, your own talents, and what you can do to start expressing them. You just feel so much more clear in your mind. A lot of the mental garbage that we experience every day starts to fall by the wayside. And there's so much more. Because when a human being is in sync that way, here's what I tell everybody. Everything you do better. It's just that simple. When a human being is in sync mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, everything you do better. And I mean everything. Every bit of your power is back in your hands. And I mean every bit of the power. So what do you do now? Well, now you have two choices. You can contact me directly at the email address here, david.a.breslow@gmail.com. And if you want to have a chat, we can have a chat. If you're in the United States, give me a phone number. If you're outside the United States, give me your Skype address and we will have a chat and I will answer all of your questions and tell you exactly how this program works. It's not out of line in terms of finances. It's an investment in yourself. It's not spending. So the first thing you want to do is get out of your mind this idea that I'm spending money on something. You're not spending money. You're investing. And even then, this is not a big investment. You're going to be pretty surprised at what the investment really is for what you're getting. You're getting everything that I just mentioned in this short presentation. Or you can click the link that's on this slide. That'll take you to a page that is a personal strategy session page. And all you need to do is answer the 10 or so questions on there. And I see that questionnaire automatically comes to me directly. And we will contact you and set up a free strategy session. This is not a sales session. It is designed to actually learn more about you. It's going to take 30 to 45 minutes. Going to take the majority of the time learning about you and offering a strategy or two to help you get what you want in whatever area is most meaningful to you. And then I'll spend a minute or two seeing if you and I are a good fit or not. And then we'll go from there. So you have these two options. So that's it. I wanted to introduce to you this 90-day program of expressing yourself. It's unbelievable the shifts that can start to be made, and I really hope you take a look at this and take a look at yourself and see if there's those. If you're like most of us, you have those desires that are still in there. They didn't go away. They're still in there. So you're still alive. You're still here. You're still on the planet. These things are all doable. So Dave Breslow, thank you so much for listening. It's been my pleasure to be with you. And you take care. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye.